Leaders in the insurance industry, coming up right now on The Leadership Voice. Welcome to The Leadership Voice. I'm your host, Jay Barbuto. Today we bring you leadership in the insurance industry. Joining us will be Meg McComb, owner of McComb Insurance Services, and Jessica Word, president of Word & Brown. We also have a special leadership lesson being delivered by Wei-Li Liu. But let's start things off with today's quote of the day. Today's quote comes from Manoj Arora, from The Rat Race to Financial Freedom. Life insurance is a mitigation to the risk of your life. Financial freedom is a mitigation to the risk of living your life. The choice has always been yours. Our first guest today on The Leadership Voice is Meg McComb, president of McComb Insurance Services. She has proudly assisted individuals and businesses with their medical, dental, vision, life, and disability insurance needs since 1984. Meg received a BA in Public Relations from the Ohio State University School of Journalism. She is a sought-after public speaker on healthcare reform and is PPACA certified. Meg is active in the National Association of Health Underwriters and currently serves on the National Education Foundation. Meg advocates on behalf of consumers' health care needs, both in Sacramento and in Washington, D.C. She serves on the Government Affairs Committee for the Vietnamese American Chamber of Commerce. She also proudly serves as a member of the Center for Leadership's Board of Directors. It is with great pleasure to welcome to The Leadership Voice, Meg McComb. Meg, it is such a pleasure to have you on the show today.
It's really exciting to be here. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Absolutely. Well, let's get things started. Maybe we could talk a little bit about yourself and your career trajectory and how you eventually came to start McComb Insurance Services.
Jay, I would love to tell you how I got started in the insurance industry. Well, you know, the job I had right before that was as the membership director of the Garden Grove Chamber of Commerce. I got married in 1981, and the Chamber of Commerce is a great place to meet many people and businesses in your area. So I met a gal that was selling HMOs. HMO is Health Maintenance Organization, and many people in America today have HMOs, such as Kaiser. But back in the early 80s, no one knew what HMOs were, and I was a rookie, so I really had my work cut out for me. In the 80s, the way you found clients was through thumbing through the yellow pages and cold calling in your territory. Well, my territory was Norwalk, Santa Fe Springs, Whittier. So one day I spoke with a gentleman in Norwalk who was a Christian school administrator. He said, Meg, I'll tell you what, if you look at my brand new Apple computer, I'll let you tell me about this newfangled thing called HMO. So I went out, listened to the magic of his Apple computer, and then I proceeded to tell him how I thought an HMO might benefit their staff. He said he'd give it a try, and it worked out really well. Because of the relationship I built with that first client, he introduced me to the superintendent of a school district that had many Christian schools, and I was able to sell more HMO business. At the same time, I enrolled in the Santa Fe Springs Chamber of Commerce, which is a great way to make business contacts. 2 years later, on May 1st, 1984, I opened McComb Insurance Services, and I was able to grow my business throughout California and offer many more lines of coverage.
That's wonderful. So as you think about the insurance industry, now you've been in the insurance industry for over 30 years. As you think about the industry and how things have evolved, what do you see as the key to success in this industry?
Well, Jay, that's a really good question. I would say the biggest key to success in any business, including insurance, is integrity. It is so important to keep your word and never to take a shortcut that would compromise your integrity. Always keep your promises, and if possible, deliver even more than you promise. Jay, another really important thing for anyone considering entering the insurance industry is the networking. I mentioned before Chamber of Commerce membership. It's so important. It's not always what you know, it's who you know. I've also been very active in the National Association of Health Underwriters. I interact with my peers, other insurance experts, medical leaders, and even legislators, because when my clients have problems, I have a resource to go to for answers. It's important, too, to always be up on education. Always keep learning. Take every continuing ed class you can. If you're here in college now, do an internship. Maybe your first job out of college is with an insurance company that will help train you. Another really important thing that was helpful along the way is a mentor. If you can find a leader in your industry, and in this case insurance, that can help you along the way, it's going to make it so much easier. And everybody needs to find out what they do best. What are your areas of strength, and what are some of the things that you need help with? A circle of supportive friends means everything. A marathon runner may run fast at first, but he's going to be longer and stronger if he's part of a relay team. Those are some of the things that I would highly recommend people think about if they're entering the insurance business.
Oh, I think that's terrific. So if somebody were just starting out, I mean, they were right at the very beginning of their career, and they said, all right, I'm gonna have my career in insurance, and they wanted to get off on the right foot, they wanted to do the right things. What advice might you give somebody just starting out in their first insurance job? What might you tell them?
Well, that's a really good question, Jay, and I can speak to that because when I was just starting out in the insurance business in the 1980s, I enrolled in the Dale Carnegie sales class. I knew that my public speaking needed some help, and that's what Dale Carnegie did, and you can do that through Toastmasters. And I also got great leadership advice as far as what Dale Carnegie said. You can get anything in this world if you help other people get what they need. What I said before about it's really important to always have integrity, think of yourself as an ambassador in the insurance business. When you go out, have the best expertise, the best knowledge, the best service, so that people will be drawn to your industry and you're an example for others. And make sure to give back into your industry. It's very important. Find something that you enjoy doing, but it's a great way to give back. And with that feeling of giving, you always open the door to receiving. In the National Association of Health Underwriters, I've been lucky. I've just finished up as the National Media Relations Chair. And the people that I've met through this experience, again, it's been great because I've been able to help my clients when they have questions about pending legislation, new insurance products. This way of networking and giving back is so important to somebody that's new in the industry.
So the importance of networking is so demonstrated. And Meg, those that know you know that you're one of the best networkers around. Could you tell us something that you have learned during your career that you wish you had actually known at the very beginning? Something that would have been incredibly useful if you had known it at the beginning, back in 1984 when you first started McComb Services. Is there something you've learned through these years that you wish you'd?
Well, Jay, there really is. The question about looking back, what do I wish I'd known or what would I've done differently, that's the question. Wow. I think the biggest thing is time. Time is the most precious commodity any one of us has, whether we're in the insurance business or just in your daily walk of life. You can redo a mistake you made, but you'll never get the time back that you spent doing that. So make the most of the precious time you have. I actually did a couple things in college that worked out really well that I'd like to share, keeping in mind how important time is. When I was at the Ohio State University, where I earned a degree in public relations, I was a page at the Ohio State House, and I also was an ombudsman for a state representative. And just for fun, I was the communications director of the student government at Ohio State. All of those things, in retrospect, were such great training for being in the insurance industry, speaking with other people. So I encourage anyone watching the show, think wisely about using time to invest now in experiences that will directly help you in your career. And I'd also like to share that it's really important to take your core values with you wherever you go, in the insurance business or wherever. If a core value is respecting people at all times, it will really help you in an insurance presentation. You will go to a presentation with far more information than you need because you want to be of service to that client. You won't interrupt him. You will listen to what they say because you really want to know how you can help them. If at the end of the presentation they don't end up buying from you, don't be disappointed. Use it as a learning experience and ask them, what could I have done differently to earn your business next time? The information they share very well could help you in the future, and it keeps the door open for perhaps a callback another time.
Oh, that's great advice. And you know, one of the things you said, I think I want to put a highlight on, which is to bring your core values with you. But a lot of that might also be about understanding who you are and what are your core values and what do you want to eventually be known for.
Well, I think that that's really important, Jay. I think it's important to spend time finding about what is most important to me, what do I feel most comfortable doing, and what are some things in life that I hope I have to do as little of as possible.
Right.
And once you find those things, establish some goals for yourself. Where do you see yourself in 2 years, in 5 years, in 10 years? And then write out some short-term objectives. Write them out and look at them often. And use that supportive group of friends to help you look at them periodically and reassess. Keep on going and don't let any one setback make you feel like a failure. Keep on going. But definitely, I agree with you. Find out what your core values are, what your interests are, and move forward with a strategic plan.
Oh, that's terrific. Meg, I want to thank you for being on the show today, and I know you're going to be back here in just a little while. When we bring Jessica on, we're going to have a panel discussion. We'll answer questions from the audience. But I want to thank you for being on the show.
Thank you. It's been a real pleasure.
And we'll see you very soon.
Thank you.
And now it's time for a featured segment of the Leadership Voice. It's today's Did You Know? Today's Did You Know comes from MarketWatch.com. While 84% of Americans say that most people need life insurance, only 68% say they personally own some form of it. It's now time for today's Leadership Countdown, which comes from Medium.com. We bring you the top reasons why insurance is important in your life. Number 5, it helps you manage risk. Number 4, it can encourage savings. Number 3, it can bring you peace of mind. Number 2, it can help secure future goals. And the number 1 reason why insurance is so important in everyday life is it buys safety and protection in advance of negative occurrences. Please stick around. We have Jessica Word in the studio, and we'll be right back after this commercial break.
Well, we found here at Honda Center and the Anaheim Ducks that the Center for Leadership brings expertise in doing research, in doing training. The faculty that has come and given the training to our employees does all the research themselves. They're not pulling this information off the shelf. They're out there researching themselves, talking from firsthand experience, and it brings such a level of competency that we, again, don't find from other trainers that are on the market.
Well, simply put, is what really differentiates and distinguishes Fullerton and the Center for Leadership, really is your expertise. You guys are able to create customized content for our business based on true research.
The faculty from Cal State Fullerton, obviously they're professors of their field. They have deep knowledge and research, but also, aside from the theory, they really bring in some practical examples, and they bring in a lot of interactive activities.
The Bringing Learning to Work initiative is our way of meeting the needs of Orange County businesses and communities. When our clients ask the Center for Leadership to come to bring learning to work, the clients know that they're getting cutting-edge information, the latest thinking in the field, but they're also getting world-class training. Welcome back to The Leadership Voice. Our next guest is Jessica Word. Jessica is president of the Word & Brown General Agency, the recognized leader in distributing health insurance and related employee benefit plans to small businesses in California and Nevada. The company works directly with employers' licensed insurance agents to research and present the group's best options. She began her career at Ward & Brown General Agency and has held various roles before serving as Executive Vice President of Operations with the General Agency. Jessica has had active leadership roles with the Orange County and California Associations of Health Underwriters, where she has served in leadership and advisory roles. Please welcome to the Leadership Voice, Jessica Ward. Jessica, it's such a pleasure to have you on the show today.
It's lovely to be here. Thank you so much, Jay.
So, Jessica, maybe you could share with our audience a little bit about your career path and how it has prepared you to become president of Ward & Brown General Agency.
So I've been in the health insurance industry for a very, very long time. Ward & Brown is a family-owned business. John Ward and Rusty Brown founded it in 1985, so I've been a part of this for a very long time, like I mentioned. And this path I've been on, but working for this company off and on many years, has taught me two really important things that led me to be in my current role. To be successful in my current role, that is. And that is the value of passion and experience. So when I was a young girl, I'll never forget my father speaking at an employee event in which he was acknowledging an employee, a woman. She just absolutely retired after 30 years, but acknowledging a woman for what a great job she had done to help a broker in a crucial time of need for this family that needed health insurance for their newborn. And so I was watching him speak up there, and I saw the passion he had with it, because he wasn't just proud of this employee that did a great job helping that broker, but he was really happy to help the broker, happy the whole team was able to do this. But he had so much passion and fire to be able to know that we helped a family. From that moment on, I just saw something sparked inside, and I realized the job he had, it wasn't really a job. It was a family away from family, and how much he loved the environment and the employees. But it taught me, like, okay, what we're really doing in health insurance is we're helping. The end user is the person receiving the benefits. And I loved being a part of that, because I've been in situations today, my own personal experience, and I've seen loved ones go through experience when not everyone wants to pay for health insurance, but when you need it, you really need it. And so it's wonderful to be able to help the end user and be a part of that. And that ignited my passion and what I have today.
And so having that purpose early on in your career, it's just having it and having it become a part of who you are, that's helped guide all of your experiences along the way, hasn't it?
It certainly has. Passion inspires innovation. And truly, if you don't love what you do, you probably should go do something else. Because if you're ever talking to somebody at a store, restaurant, on the phone, you can tell they're not happy with their job. And it shines through, it comes through. So you really want to be, especially in a leadership role, loving with what you do, because everyone knows when you're not happy about it. It's just, you emanate that. And so one other thing that I love with being in this company for many, many years has helped me in this role I am today, is that I've had the chance to work in every department. And when I say every department, Jay, I mean from the ground up. I started in the mailroom, held that position for a couple months, and I went through every department within every Ward & Brown company that we had, and I learned a lot of things, especially being in a leadership role. You don't want to ask your staff to do something that you haven't done or don't understand or wouldn't do it. And one of the more memorable departments I worked in was customer service. So if any of us have ever called customer service, generally we're calling because we're not happy. And so being on the receiving end, answering that phone, it's hard. Kudos to those that are in that industry, sitting on the other line of the phone, in that profession, I should say. So that taught me real compassion, because I got to hear a lot of different stories. And then again, it inspires innovation. It inspires us to be efficient, and that's what we need to be to get somebody who needs health insurance right when they need it at the right time.
So really, when you think about your preparation, it really came down to having that early sense of purpose that guided you throughout your career, and then your willingness to take on roles and take on tasks in a variety of different ways, regardless of how high or low level those tasks might have been, which prepared you so that you would have an incredible amount of empathy as president for all the different things that happen in your company.
No, thank you, Jay. Absolutely. Working in a business, it's really important to know how everything works. And so understanding, at a basic level, to lay the foundation, because if you want to build upon it and improve it and be successful, you're going to have to know how everything starts from ground zero.
Terrific. So maybe you could tell us, now that you've been in the industry for many years, could you share what you see as the keys to success in the insurance industry?
The key to success is the ability to adapt, and working on a winning team first, Jay. That absolutely is paramount. If you're not on a winning team, and when I say winning team, I mean everyone that supports each other, then you're never going to be successful for very long. And there's one team philosophy we have at Word & Brown. No one gets left behind. You know, the receptionist's role is just as important as my role. She's the storefront, she or he's the storefront. So that is extremely important. And also listening to the needs of the market. So many times in so many different industries, we're just kind of given a product. They don't do enough study on what does a consumer truly want. So in health insurance, we all have a common need. We feel that way, but because I think that common need, they don't go out to the market and ask them as often as they could. So make sure that you listen to what the needs are, because the needs will continue to change. But if you're listening, then you're at the pulse of it, as opposed to force-feeding this information. And so that's extremely important. And digital strategy, digital transformation, that's huge right now. Not just across the world in all industries, but it's huge with our carriers. Right now, we're trying to get out of our antiquated paper system, the carriers and agencies and brokers alike, and even the employers we work with, to go on a paperless. And so a lot of the carriers are headed there right now. They're currently either on or looking to get off their legacy system. So being able to adapt in this quickly changing market is really key to success in the health insurance industry.
Oh, that's some great advice. Now, if you were to talk to somebody who is just starting out in their insurance career, you know, that first job, and they say, "Oh, I want to eventually become, you know, really successful in this industry." What advice might you give somebody who's just starting out?
Well, be willing to embrace technology. Absolutely, technology it's leading the way. It's what we're all innovating. We're continuing to strive to get better, and it's all around technology. It's incredible how much there's a gap between business and IT, and to be a liaison between the two, to bridge that gap, that's a powerful position to be in. And so I would encourage anybody in that role to focus a lot on product management. That was one of the departments I first ran when going to the general agency. You get to learn about the processes, the TDDs, the PDDs, the statements, how things are written, how the code works. You don't need a computer science degree to know about technology, but you do need to know about computers. And there's a lot of value that you're going to bring to any system, to any company, when you can actually have that conversation. And focus in one area. You don't need to be everything to all, but focus in a specific area. That's incredibly important. And know your competition. Right now, a lot of brokers are losing their business to other agencies because they're coming in with something stronger, more effective. Know your competition always, because if you don't, somebody behind you is going to come in behind you to take your business from you. And that's a really interesting thing that's happening right now. All these smaller agencies are getting bought up by these larger agencies due to efficiencies. Efficiency is leading the way. And I would suggest somebody starting out in this role to perhaps work at a carrier, the other side, or whichever the other side would it be. Work for another carrier, because in our world, we have these underwriting guidelines. For the carrier said there's no exceptions granted. Well, there really are. But you just need to know that. You need to just not read what's given to you. You need to see how the people that are granting the exceptions, how they come in, how it works. So you can understand everything. That's extremely important.
And so some great advice there for I call them newbies, for folks that are just starting out in the insurance industry.
Right.
So as you look back, what have you learned during your career that you wish you had known at the beginning of your career?
This show's too short. The show's too short for that. But what I wish I had known was the power of networking. And it didn't really exist the way it exists today with the social media. We didn't have that back when I graduated from Cal State Fullerton. But
Titan.
I'm a fellow Titan. So it's so empowering to be able to meet with other people, your peers. And, when I graduated college back in the day, that didn't exist, and I really wish it did, because I got so used to, you have your group projects, in your final year of school, and you get paired with people that you wouldn't necessarily pair up with on purpose. And so that left a lasting impression for me, because I got used to kind of just doing things on my own, I should say, within a group setting, because perhaps the person you're paired with, they're not available, you can't meet them or whatnot. So you just kind of take on a lot of work. But never once did I leave like with a good network of friends, of peers. And when I say friends, it doesn't have to be friends. It could just be somebody that's in your space, somebody that's hungry, but it's a relationship industry. It truly is. It's incredible. I mean, right now, you always be kind and mindful to everybody, because the person that's perhaps working as a receptionist could one day be president of the company and every role. So, I mean, those are just core values. Always be mindful, because what you say is going to come bite you, and you know what, if you're not being mindful. And networking, along with being a mentor or a mentee, finding a mentor is huge. But what I'm going to say is going to be hard for a lot of people, but find a mentor that you respect and find one that you can't stand, because there's a lot of lessons on both sides. And I wouldn't maybe be surprised if you were to one day tell me, hey, you know, I did that, I found somebody I couldn't stand, and guess what, they're now your favorite person. Because what we can't stand in somebody sometimes is a reflection of things that remind us of people in our family or ourselves, and we're just subconscious to that. So challenge yourself. Don't be afraid, and ask. Please ask. So many people don't ask anymore. It's incredible. And so that I say yes a lot, because nobody ever asks me for things. And I'm impressed when it happens. Think outside the box. And health insurance is changing all the time. It's evolving. You know, we're not evolving, we're not changing. Nobody has a really good, perfect read on what's going on today. Nobody. So don't be too intimidated when you feel that you don't know as much as somebody else, because we're all doing this together and we're better together. So
yeah, and you know, what we're hearing is this idea that you have to keep learning and stay open to learning what's new, learning what's current. It's been a theme today in several different things that you've said. That if we want to succeed in this industry, we have to stay in tune with what our customers need, what the trends are. We need to always be listening and learning and asking the right questions.
absolutely. So it's really important to join like local chapters, anything in your industry. So for us at Ward & Brown, we support NAHU, National Association of Health Underwriters. Yeah. And then they have state chapters, CAHU, California Association of Health Underwriters. And then we have ACAHU, Orange County Association of Health Underwriters. Wonderful resources. Get out there, be with people. Surround yourself by those that are doing exciting things, because only then will you be elevated to do better yourself.
That's terrific. Well, I want to thank you, Jessica, for being on the show. You had some incredible pearls of wisdom for our audience. You're going to stay on here. We're going to have a panel discussion and answer some Q&A here in just a moment. So I want to thank you for being on the show.
Thank you. My pleasure.
It's now time for a featured segment of the show, Our Leadership Example. Today we bring you the 25 best insurance companies to work for in California. It's time for today's leadership lesson. Today's lesson is being delivered by Dr. Wei-Li Liu, the Director of the Center for Insurance Studies, here at Cal State Fullerton.
Hello, I'm Dr. Wei-Li Liu, and this is today's leadership lesson. My topic for today is on the insurance company's operation. Insurance is risk pooling. Insurance companies can pool all individuals' risks together and predict the chances of loss and set aside loss reserves. Therefore, the uncertainties such as a car accident can become certain to them. These calculations are based on the mathematical principles such as the law of large numbers. There are 3 parties involved. For example, the insurer, insured, and distributor, or agent and broker. The insurance theory can be separated into 3 fields: actuarial science, risk management, and investigation and law. Here are 3 keys to a successful insurance operation. First, predict the loss as accurately as you can and maintain the adequate loss reserves. The actuary will predict the probability of loss and set up the right price for the insurance products, such as car insurance and homeowners insurance. The actuary department is like the brain of the insurance company. The actuaries are required to pass a sequence of exams to make the company stay financially healthy. Secondly, manage the risks as much as you can. Underwriters are hired to protect the company by enforcing the underwriting rules and assessing risks. They are the risk manager and gatekeeper to the insurance companies. The risks will be analyzed and insured by underwriters. Their performance can be critical to the insurance company's risk management. Third, make sure that the loss payment is fair and that the investigation is proper. Claims adjusters are hired to investigate insurance claims to determine the extent of the insuring company's liability. They need to conduct an extensive investigation, negotiation, and communication. Sometimes the litigated case may even involve the court. I'm Dr. Wei-Li Lu, and this has been today's leadership lesson. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Lu, for that insightful leadership lesson. It's now time for the Leadership Voices Q&A. Viewers, do you need some leadership advice? Well, you've come to the right place. Every show we take questions from you, our viewers, and we answer them right here on the show. Today we have 4 questions for our 2 guests. So Jessica and Meg, thank you so much for being here. We're going to get right to the first question. Our first question is for Meg, and it comes from Ben in Dana Point, California. Ben asks, what is the one characteristic or trait that every successful entrepreneur needs to have?
Wow, that's a really good question. I can say without doubt, the most important quality for an entrepreneur, actually any person to have to be successful in life, is resilience. I think resilience is the ability to have inner strength that makes you get back quickly on your feet when you have a setback. Resilient people have inner strength, and they know what their core values are, and they know how to build a supportive team, family and friends, and also faith that makes resilience a very important quality.
Terrific.
I 100% agree with that. Being resilient is paramount. Another really important characteristic or trait there is being prepared to fail. If you don't fail, you're not trying. And be prepared to be ridiculed, be prepared to have people say things that aren't accurate, and especially in a leadership role, be prepared to have disappointment. But without any of that, you wouldn't want to persevere to be better and make things better. And so having the ability to pick yourself back up and get up and do this again with a smile on your face, having that the strength inside. It takes a lot of strength to get up and do that every morning. And also have your family be with you on the weekends or whatnot during the week. Have a life, I should say. And so to have a fine balance between that, you have to have strength to dust it off. And it's not you. It's not a reflection of your work, but it's just a reflection of you trying. That didn't work. Great.
That's right. And really, I think what you both have touched on is this notion of resiliency, but also this notion of being willing to fail. Because ultimately, failures are opportunities. And there are opportunities to learn, there are opportunities to strengthen our convictions, and we can grow and come out of these things even better than before those things happened. So I think that's a great start to our Q&A. So our second question is for Jessica, and it comes from Daniel in Downey, California. Daniel asks, in your opinion, What entry-level job provides the best preparation for a career in the industry?
I definitely think something in operations, any role in operations, really, they're all very, very important, and they're all very unique traits to them. But customer service, as I said earlier in our interview together, customer service is really important. Says once you understand the grievances, why people are calling in, what's frustrating them, that is very, very important, because down to whether it's your president, vice president, sales rep, regional vice president, they're the ones that have to go out there and sell our service. And so if things are not going well, they're going to get phone calls as well at the top. And so making sure that you understand how everything works in the company and know what the grievances are, what the complaints are, and therefore, if you know what they are, then you can work towards making things a lot more efficient. But you have to know the pains of the customer, or you really don't know your product at all.
I couldn't agree with what Jessica said more. I think operations is a great spot to learn the insurance business from the ground up. I would encourage anybody seeking a career in insurance to seek an entry-level position in operations to truly learn all aspects of that position.
Terrific. So our third question is for Meg, and it comes from Clarissa in Seal Beach, California. Clarissa asks, what was the biggest mistake you have made in your business, and what did you learn from this?
Wow. Of all the things over the many years in the insurance business, I can honestly say, stay away from negative people. Learn that negative people can suck the energy and life out of you and make you absolutely miserable and ineffective at your job. There are negative people everywhere, and what I do in these situations, because sometimes you're in a work situation where you really can't get away from these people, is to look at them with a different lens filter and realize hurting people hurt other people. Realize the negativity, see it for what it is, and try to remove yourself as much as possible in order to be successful in the insurance business and move forward.
Terrific.
Absolutely. I could not agree more, Meg. Well said. So the question was, what's the biggest mistake? And so I'm going to change mistake and replace it with opportunity. The learning opportunity I had, which came from a mistake, is always get the facts yourself. Do never believe the first thing out of somebody's mouth. There's three sides to every story. His, hers, what's in the middle, you name it. And so it's fascinating, especially being in a leadership role, managing anybody. You're always going to hear different versions, and you're going to want to react and be passionate. And you can, but you could do that with the door closed and be there for that person, not publicly. But do your fact-finding, but do it for yourself, because you're going to have a lot of regrets. And I've been through this. And these are people that you trust on both sides, but perception is reality, and miscommunication that happens, they truly are telling their truth. But you can't judge. You have to actually get all the facts for yourself. That's a very valuable lesson.
Oh, that is terrific. So our fourth question is for Jessica, and it comes from Vu in Westminster, California. Vu asks, what is the toughest decision that you've had to make since becoming president at Ward & Brown?
There's a lot of tough decisions, and it just depending on the year, or the month, or the day. I am going to have one from this morning already. So every day has a tough decision in it. You know, one of the biggest impactful, toughest decisions Ward & Brown has experienced is that, learn to build versus buy. We have our own software division in our company, our IT department, and we love our homegrown software. So knowing when to build or buy, that's complicated to know. So we took a leap of faith. We, about 2.5 years ago, invested into a CRM system, put a lot of money into that. Now, we could have continued to put money into our own legacy system, but we need to get off. We need to get off that language, that universal language. And so asking people to work differently, putting them into a new system in a new world by asking them to continue to sell. Hey, do your normal job, but I'm just going to change everything up the way you're used to doing it. And seeing how burnt out and how frustrated. That was one of the toughest decisions. But 2.5 years later, we're still building upon it, a couple $1 million later, and it was one of the best decisions, but it's tough. Change is tough. Change in general is tough. But this was one of the toughest decisions I've had to make. Okay. This company's had to make.
Oh, terrific. So Meg, as owner of McComb Insurance Services, what is the toughest decision that you've had to make?
Well, I think piggybacking upon Jessica, technology is really the vital force, not only in insurance, but in the industry, deciding how much to invest in technology, when it's too much, when it's the right amount. The important thing in all these decisions is constantly reassessing. Are you getting the return on the investment and having a long-range projection? What do I expect from this 12 months from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now? And perhaps the most important question behind all of it, what is the cost of not moving forward in this particular technological advancement? Unless you're constantly reassessing your long-range goals as well as the short-term objectives to achieve them, as what Jessica was talking about, you probably are not going to be as effective moving forward in your insurance business. So Jessica spoke great wisdom of how her company every day faces these decisions and what they do.
Well, I want to thank you both for being on the show and helping us with the Q&A. If you have a question or need advice, send us your questions here to the Leadership Voice by email, leadershipvoice@fullerton.edu, or by Twitter @CSUF_leadership. Well, I think that's all the time we have for today's show. Today we talked about leadership in the insurance industry. Thank you to our guests, Meg McComb and Jessica Word, for joining us, and a special thank you to Dr. Wei-Li Liu for delivering today's leadership lesson. I'm Jay Barbuto, and on behalf of the Center for Leadership here at Cal State Fullerton, we'll see you next time right here on the Leadership Voice.